Simply put, the answer is no. Hey, everybody, I am back. This is January 29, 2024, day 48, I believe, out of 55, which means I have 7 more days until my birthday. Ooh. Yeah. So for those of you who are just turning in for the first time, I am Elegant Granny. I am restoration strategist and creator and host of the Proactive Eye podcast. And excuse me, what I'm doing right now is I am doing a walk down memory lane of things I can remember of my 55 years of, well, actually, I'm still 54, but to my 55th year of being here on this earth. So I'm doing a countdown, 55 days to 55, and this is day 48, I believe. Yeah. Now, I have been asked many times, many times, of some things that I have made decisions on in my life, and people have asked, have I regretted making these decisions? And simply put, my answer is always no. I don't regret anything I've decided, no matter what it is. And I'm going to talk about 3 different areas in my life today because they are very, very important to me. And they stem off of something my dad taught me. My father taught me, no matter what you choose in life, no matter what decision you have made about your life, for your own life, never regret it. It doesn't matter if it was a bad decision. He said, own it. He said, because there are lessons in everything that you do, no matter what decision that you make. If it's a bad one, those are teachable moments. And he said, don't regret them. He said, use them as such. So that's what I'm going to do. There are 3 different areas in my life that I'm going to talk about, and we're going to get to them right now. One thing that people have asked me, they don't do it now, but when I was much younger, they always asked me if I regret not going away to college. I do not. I do not regret it. I don't regret it because right out of high school, well, let's backtrack. While I was in high school, I worked full time. And I worked full time because in the 80s, the credit hours that I needed to graduate were a lot different than what the children need now. And so I had worked well, not the whole time I was in high school, but I worked sophomore year, junior year, and senior year while I was in high school. And I felt like I could use a break. And I wanted to take a year off from school and just work and just let my brain just relax because I already knew that college would be different. I knew that it would take up a lot more time than my high school work did. And I wanted to ease myself into that instead of just throwing myself into it. So the best decision I feel like I made for me was to take a break, work, and then after a year, go to college. I wanted to go to junior college. My mother, my mother wanted me to go to university, and she had in her mind which ones, and I just didn't want that. I did not. Not it. I just did not. I did not want the experiences that she told me about. None of them were bad. They were all good, but that's not what I wanted. I just wanted something simple because up until then, my life had been very complex. Everything that I had been exposed to, everything that I had to live through, I had to become an adult as a child, and I had to make grown up decisions for adults who were not able to do that for themselves or for us at the moment because they were doing the best that they can to get through what they were getting through. So I felt like a break was necessary. And I'm glad I made that decision. I do not regret that decision. I think had I went ahead and did my life the way not just my mother, but other family members and friends of the family, had I done it their way, I don't think my life would have turned out the way that it has now or the way I wanted it to. I think it would have been a mess. I really, really do. I think it would have been a mess. So, no, I don't regret it. Now, this thing here, I never wanted to get married and have children. I did not. I never, ever, ever, even when I was a child. And so I grew up in the 70s. I am a child of the 60s. Most of my raising was in the 70s, and I graduated high school in the 80s. And gender roles were very specific and they were honored. And there was this mindset that you don't have a choice, you need to do this. And I was not having it. No. Mm-mm. I did not want to get married. I remember 10 years old and my mother and I having this conversation about when I get older and get married. And I said, lady, I'm not getting married. No, mama, I am not getting married. Yes, you will. And you're going to have some children and I'm going to be a grandmother. I said, well, my sisters will give you some children. It will not be me. And she just insisted. I was like, okay, you'll see. And it ended up, I did not. I told her that if I got married, I would be 40 or older because there were things that I wanted to do with my life, and I did not want to have to consider the other person before I did those things. I wanted to just get up and just go because that's what I wanted to do. And I wanted the freedom to do that. And so being married was not a part of the plan because I would have to consider the other person. That's just what relationship comes with. And I was not willing to do that. So what was the point of getting married? And I kept that promise to myself. And I am so glad. So no, there's another no. I do not regret not getting married at an early age or having children. I don't regret not having children. I remember a very close relative of mine. We were talking, and I believe we were in our mid 30s. And they asked me, do I regret not having children? Because this person did. And I said, no, I do not. My life is the way I planned it. You know that Planned Parenthood? I didn't do Planned Parenthood. I did Planned My Life. That's what I did, planned my life. And being a parent was not a part of that journey. It just wasn't. And I did not regret it. Even today, in my 50s, I do not regret not having children. I've had so many children in my life, and I still have so many in my life who need love, who needs mentoring, who needs the mothering that I can share with them. Even with me being closer to being a senior citizen. Oh my goodness. Some relatives of mine were teasing me about that because they're younger. I don't care. But anyway, I'm enjoying it. Even with me being closer to being a senior, I still don't regret it. I love the decisions that I made. I enjoyed them, and I carefully thought about every decision I made about my life. And I am very, very happy. I feel like I'm getting full. I do. I feel like I'm getting full because everything that I wanted in my life, I've pretty much got. And I have a lot more that I want for my life, and I'm going to get them before I close my eyes and go back to the cosmos. That's just the way I plan it. This very last thing, some people think it's a little sensitive. I do not, because I like talking and I'll talk about any part of my life. A lot of people have asked me, do I regret getting married? Because the marriage that I lived in was very toxic and very abusive. And my answer is no, I do not regret it. I don't regret it at all. Now, this is why I don't regret it. I do not regret it because I learned so much about myself. Had I not married, I would not have known these things about me, because living with someone else on that level pulled those things out of me, and I saw them. There were many of them that I admired and I loved, and I sharpened those things. And there were many things I did not like at all. And there were more of those things than the things that I liked. So, what I chose to do were the things that I did not like about myself, that were deep, they were hidden way, 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 way deep on the inside of me. I studied those things. I studied myself. I spent time with myself and I learned my likes, my dislikes, even the things that my ex husband said to me or did to me. I wondered, like, okay, why is this triggering me? And I needed to know. Had I not married that man, I would not have known any of these things. So, no, I do not regret being married to him. Not at all. I learned how to be even more compassionate towards myself. I learned how to be more assertive. I learned how to be even more, and as assertive as I am, because the life that I live, there's no way I could have lived it without being assertive. But I learned how to be even more assertive as someone who was in a relationship, because I didn't really do a lot of relationships. I just did not, because I wanted my life the way it was. I love traveling. This is the reason why I did not marry before 40. I was actually 45 before I married. And I loved that freedom. I really, really did. But when I got married, I loved being a wife. I did. I loved being a wife. I wasn't crazy about being a wife to the person that I was married to once the abuse started. Before it started, I really enjoyed it. I did. I really enjoyed it. There were a lot of happy times. There really was. But when the trauma started, even then, I still don't regret it, because I grew from that. I did. I grew from that because, like I said, there were so many things about myself that I learned. Most of them were generationally. Once I started studying myself, I had to spend a lot of time thinking about me. A lot of times, most people focus on the other person. He became a non factor. He did. Once all of that stuff started, I'm like, nope, this energy is coming back to myself. And that's what I did. Um, so I studied myself and I learned what triggered me. I learned my likes and dislikes. It's not like I didn't know them. I just needed to know what they were actually, as a married person. That I didn't know. Now, once I learned that, and I started comparing it with who I am as a single woman, that's the moment when things change for me. So, do I regret anything? Nope, I do not. So happy birthday to me.